Welcome back to Old Charles coin collectors and history lovers. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the United States one dime from 1965, a small coin with a big story. We'll explore its history, design, interesting facts, condition, and of course, its value in today's collector's market. So, if you love coins and hidden treasures, make sure to watch this video till the end. Let's start with some history. The year 1965 was an extremely important turning point in American coinage. Until 1964, dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. However, due to a rise in silver prices, the U.S. government faced a serious coin shortage. People began hoarding coins with silver content, and the U.S. Mint needed to make a drastic change. In 1965, the Mint introduced what we call the clad coinage system. The new dime was made of a copper-nickel composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. This meant the 1965 dime contained no silver, making it the first year of the modern Roosevelt Dime series that is still used today. The design itself did not change. On the obverse, we have the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek and first released in 1946, honoring Roosevelt's work with the March of Dimes Foundation. On the reverse, you'll see the torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Another interesting fact, the 1965 dime has no mint mark.
Why?
Because the Mint wanted to discourage hoarding. By removing mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967, the Mint hoped collectors wouldn't hoard specific varieties. Now, how many of these dimes were made? The mintage was massive. More than 1.65 billion pieces were struck. That makes the 1965 dime one of the most common coins of its era. However, there are some rare and valuable exceptions. A small number of 1965 dimes were mistakenly struck on 1964 silver planchets. These are called transitional error coins, and they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. If you ever come across a 1965 dime that looks silvery and weighs around 2.5 grams instead of 2.27 grams, you might have found one of these treasures. Like all coins, the value of a 1965 dime depends heavily on its condition. In circulated condition, most 1965 dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, since they were produced in huge numbers. In uncirculated or mint state condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, collectors may pay anywhere from $1 to $10. A flawless MS-67 or MS-68 coin can go much higher, sometimes over $100, simply because high-grade survivors are harder to find. And of course, the rare silver planchet error coins can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Another important factor is whether the coin has what's called full bands, FB, on the reverse torch. This means the horizontal bands on the torch are fully visible and sharply struck. Coins with full bands are highly sought after and command a premium price. So, what is the modern value of the 1965 dime? Regular circulated examples, about 10 cents, uncirculated, MS-65 and above, anywhere from $2 to $15. Gem quality, MS-67 with full bands, $100 or more. Silver transitional error dimes, $3, 000 to $10, 000 depending on grade and rarity. This makes the 1965 dime an everyday coin that most people overlook, but with the chance of containing a rare minting mistake that could change everything. So, there you have it, the story of the United States 1965 one dime ***, a coin that marked a turning point in U.S. history, shifting from silver to modern clad coinage. While most are only worth 10 cents today, a lucky few are worth a fortune. Where we explore the fascinating world of rare and historical coins. Today's episode is all about the United States 1965 one dime, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but its history is tied to one of the most important turning points in American coinage. Stick with us as we uncover its long history, the reasons behind its creation, its design, and of course, its value today. Let's take a trip back in time to understand why the 1965 dime is such a historic piece. Up until 1964, all U.S. dimes, quarters, and half dollars were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. This silver content gave them intrinsic value, often higher than their face value. But in the early 1960s, the United States faced a major coin shortage crisis. Why? Well, silver prices were rising. By 1964, the value of the silver inside dimes and quarters was close to their actual face value. People began hoarding silver coins, either as an investment or simply to melt them down for profit. This hoarding caused a shortage of small change across the country. Businesses struggled, vending machines lacked coins, and the U.S. Mint faced huge pressure to solve this problem. The U.S. government passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This act changed the composition of coins. Dimes and quarters would no longer be made of silver. Instead, they were produced with a copper-nickel-clad composition, an inner core of pure copper, sandwiched between two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This reduced the cost of production and discouraged hoarding since the new coins had no intrinsic silver value. The 1965 Roosevelt Dime was the very first of this new generation. And this was not just a small change, it was the end of an era. For the first time since the early 1800s, dimes contained no silver at all. Another key historical fact. From 1965 to 1967, the mint deliberately removed all mint marks from coins. This was done to discourage coin collectors from hoarding coins from certain mints. So, if you look at a 1965 dime, you'll notice there is no mint mark, no matter where it was produced. The design of the dime itself didn't change in 1965. The obverse still carried the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had been honored on the dime since 1946. Roosevelt was chosen because of his association with the March of Dimes, a campaign that helped fight polio in the United States. Roosevelt himself had suffered from polio, so the coin served as a tribute to his leadership and his connection to the cause. On the reverse, you'll see the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. This classic design was created by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. So, the 1965 dime is more than just a small coin. It represents the United States' transition from silver coinage to modern base metal coinage. It was part of the Mint strategy to stabilize the economy, solve the coin shortage, and adapt to changing metal values. It's worth noting that many Americans were unhappy with this change. People preferred the real money feel of silver coins, and the switch to clad coins was seen as a loss of tradition. However, the change was necessary, and today, the clad dime has been in circulation for almost 60 years, proving that the 1965 decision reshaped U.S. coinage permanently. Now that we know the long history, let's talk about how many were made. The mintage of the 1965 dime was absolutely massive, over 1.65 billion coins. This high production ensured that the coin shortage would finally come to an end. But here's where it gets exciting, because 1964 silver dimes and 1965 clad dimes were produced so close together, a few error coins slipped through the cracks. Some 1965 dimes were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver planchets. These transitional error coins are extremely rare and highly valuable today. Collectors pay thousands of dollars for them. So, if you have a 1965 dime, it's worth checking the weight. A regular 1965 clad dime weighs 2.27 grams, a silver error dime weighs about 2.5 grams. That tiny difference could mean the difference between 10 cents and thousands of dollars. Now let's discuss condition and value. In circulated condition, most 1965 dimes are worth just 10 cents, since they were minted in huge numbers. In uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, they can sell $4/$1 to $10. Superb quality examples, such as MS-67 or MS-68 full bands, can reach values over $100. And of course, the rare 1965 silver transitional error dimes can sell $4/$3, $0.000/10, $0.000 or more depending on the grade and rarity. Collectors also look for the *** full bands *** designation on the reverse torch, which means the lines on the bands are fully struck and sharp. Coins with this detail always bring a premium. So, the 1965 U.S. $1 dime is more than just a small coin in your pocket. It marks the end of the silver era, the birth of modern coinage, and a fascinating moment in American history. While most examples are common and worth only face value, some rare errors and high-grade coins can be worth a small fortune.